What is going on, guys? Today we are going over the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, the final Grand Prix of the 2025 season. And I'm going to be honest, it was boring. The first lap, interesting. And then it was kind of dull, especially since we didn't see any of the overtakes in the midfield. So it was kind of, I don't know. I get it. It was the championship, three-way title fight, but it was just so anticlimactic because all Lando needed to do was just maintain third place. So I know I'm a few days late on this race. I wanted to wait till all the news and announcements, if any penalties were going to be given, anything like that. So that's why I kind of held up on that. But this week we have our S tier and our F tier. One of our drivers are going to get a super rating and one of our drivers are going to get a super failure. So let's get started. First things first, I'm going to do the Aston Martins. We're going to do Stroll and Fernando Alonso. Stroll picked up a penalty. He did do that. He did have an overtake though. Not a lot of people did have overtakes. So Stroll, we're gonna actually, it was one of his better races, but it was one of his better races, but clearly the car was there that week, so that's why I'm gonna put him C tier, a high C tier, because once again, you look at Fernando, you look at what he was able to do with the car. Obviously, I'm not saying he should have been on Fernando's level. They are entirely different. But he definitely could have been closer, and he could have qualified better. And that leading into Fernando, who gets not S tier, A tier. Mouse slip. Almost S tier. Once again, though, my guy Fernando Alonso, really good at leading a DRS train. I mean, I really don't. He puts that car above and beyond, and clearly his knowledge with all these tracks are coming into play, because I think if you put in a good driver, but not necessarily with the experience that Alonso has, I don't think they get the place that Alonso did. Because Alonso got, if we look here, Alonso got 6. You put some of these other good drivers in, who would be a good comparison? I'd say a younger guy, like an Alex Albon, or the rookies are, that's kind of a poor excuse, or even a Pierre Gasly. They're not getting 6th. I think Fernando Alonso just has his way of defending, and that really just benefited him throughout the entire Grand Prix. Next up, we have the Alpines. We're going to do the Alpines. We have Pierre Gasly and Franco Colapinto. I don't know why I put Kimi over there. Pierre Gasly, going to put him in D. Picked up that penalty. Finished 19th. They were so slow, the Alpines. But, you pick up a penalty for track limits. You weren't even chasing anyone. So, got to be D. And I'm going to put Franco above him. Even though Franco started P20, finished P20, he didn't pick up penalties. I get it, he was slow. But really, the penalty is going to be the only thing that differs between the two, And for that, I'm going to give Franco a higher rating. Next up, we got the Ferraris. Oh boy. It's devastating. Lewis Hamilton is going to be in the C tier. Once again, brought it back, but that qualifying is just not there. And it's awful. And while I think Charles went above and beyond, so I wouldn't expect him to be where Charles Leclerc was, but I do expect him to be maybe 2 places higher if he just got himself out of Q1. I mean, come on. When are we ever gonna see Hamilton really shine in a Ferrari? Probably never, because Ferrari stinks. But I hope so. And I was really hoping he would get at least into Q2 because you see race pace, he's on point. It's just that qualifying with that car is really tricky. And so for that, it killed him. And the strategy was good. His driving was good, but qualifying was awful. And so he's actually going behind Stroll because of that. Because even though Stroll did the same thing, Stroll's not a 7-time world champion. So that's why we're going to put Hamilton in the C tier. Charles Leclerc, he is our S tier of the week. All right, Ferrari stink, okay? Just a fact. This year, they were absolutely awful. So Charles Leclerc being in P4, kind of wild. Honestly, that's the best place he could have been because the McLarens and Max were just way too fast this weekend. And he's honestly pretty lucky that Mercedes just kind of dropped the ball. So, yeah, he deserves it. He drove the hell out of that car. And if Lando, which we'll get into the penalty later, the possible penalty, if Lando did get a penalty, I think Charles would have pushed a little more and would have possibly gotten himself on the podium. So he's my S tier of the week. Next up, we have Nico and Bortoleto. It's interesting, right? It's interesting. Because Bortoleto qualified really well and somehow finished behind his teammate. And Nico qualified really poorly. So, we're just going to make, a really poorly qualified spot. This is what, honestly, let's rename this Quali Poor. That's what it is. It's poor quality. Because they all did pretty well in the race and all jumped up a bunch of places, but their qualifying, they were so slow. And Bortoleto, I'm gonna put him above. I think Bortoleto had a good race as a rookie. Give him another year of experience, he would have been in the points, he would have been a lot better. But he qualified amazing. It just sucks that he ended up behind his teammate because his tires were kind of really old, and I don't think the strategy was perfect for Bortoleto. Nico and Hamilton, they went on this really early pit stop and then kind of dragged out, and that seemed to work for both of them in the long run. Next, we have Haas. Esteban Ocon. That's an A. That's a rare occurrence, Esteban getting an A, but he deserves it. He 100% aced qualifying, and then he just held his own in the middle of the field. And it wasn't like he was leading a DRS train, he was holding off Hamilton. He was holding off a bunch of other cars that I feel like definitely could have outdone him. But, his race pace was good, the car was decent, and his strategy was just on point. Unlike Bortoleto, my bad. Unlike Ollie Behrman, we're going to give him a B, right? Because Ollie finished 12th behind Gabri. Yeah. Ooh, hold on. Maybe we sneak him. We might sneak him here. I'm going to be honest, because Ollie was I put him on my fantasy team too, because Ollie was this car is amazing. And I got excited. I was all right, we're going to double points Ollie Behrman. I got a good feeling. He's going to qualify really well. And Q1 did really well. He was up at the top. And then all of a sudden Q2 comes around and he gets absolutely screwed. And barely loses out to Yuki Tsunoda. So, for that, poor quality. Yeah, he fits right in the description. Poor quality. But now that I say that, I'm with Bortoleto in B. Right, this is now the poor quality section. Bortoleto obviously did not qualify poorly, so we're going to put him in the B category. Hadjar and Liam. They're both Ds. They are both Ds. At least Liam was showing a little bit of fight. Hadjar was just absolutely nowhere. They both got lapped at the end of the day. Yeah, the Racing Bulls was just looking horrendous, which is kind of worrying for how next year's going to turn out. But, I mean, next year's new regs, so we'll see how that goes. It was just really concerning to see the huge drop-off. I was really hoping Liam might have crashed into Lando at one point. I thought that was going to make things a little spicy, a little interesting, but that never happened. So, yeah, they're going to be in the D tier. Max Verstappen, obviously a masterclass of performance. I'm going to put him, because he drove the hell out of that car. He did really well. And I guess, yeah, he did above and beyond. He pulled away. I think it's hard to judge Max because he just did everything right, and yet he still lost the championship. It's like at the end of the day, those little points cost him. So even though the championship should have been over a long time ago, it was interesting watching him perform. I thought he was going to be a little bit more aggressive, maybe like back up the pack a little bit, cause some chaos, but I'm going to give him an A. He had a great quality, proved he didn't need a tow from Yuki, so he gets an A. Speaking of Yuki, you're my F tier. You are my F tier of the week, and I'll explain why. First of all, qualifying, he got lucky. Because Behrman should have made it through, but Yuki was like a centimeter on that track, so they let him through. Then he tows Max. I'm fine with him towing Max. He was a little early moving out of the way, but he gave Max a tow. That's fine. Then he does another lap, and that lap gets deleted. So now he starts P10. And so what does he put on? He puts on the hard tires. And he's going on the hard tires, which is fine. And then Lando rolls around, right? Lando comes around, and, we hear Yuki on the radio like, I know what I'm doing. No, you didn't, though, because you let Lando by so quickly. He guarded on the wrong part. If Checo was there, it would have been a whole different story. And I'm not saying it would have changed the outcome of everything, but, it's clear why he's not getting this Red Bull seat next year. And I don't know if it's him, I don't know if it's car, but it's clear why he's just not fit for that seat. Next up, the McLarens. They're both getting A's. I feel like these three are so equal. I'm going to give Lando the A because Charles was on his rear end half the time, and he kept his composure. He overtook some of the midfield cars, which, it's easy to do, but you're going for a world championship. One mistake could screw over your entire race. So he did well, and I think he deserves the A. He did everything he needed to. I'm putting Oscar behind Max because he had no pace against Max. And also, that turn 1 overtake on Lando was actually planned. I found that out the other day. So it wasn't like it was all Oscar. It was a planned move from both of them. So there's no bonus points for that. So I'm going to give him an A. He did fine. He did good. I'm kind of tempted to put him even lower because he kind of just was there, but he drove a solid race and did what he needed to do, so I'm gonna put him right here. I think that's a good spot. Kimi, I'm gonna give him a B. Made up a few places, but he was absolutely nowhere to be seen. That Mercedes wasn't great this weekend, but I mean, come on. Honestly, no. Take that back. We're throwing him in the poor quality situation because he had an awful qualifying, and he deserves to be in this spot because where did he finish, right? He finished 15th. Yeah, the poor qualifying right at the end because, yeah, I mean, what a stinker of a race by him. George gets a B, absolutely bombs it on the start, and then after that just was nowhere. No pace, no nothing. Speaking of nothing, Williams. Oh my gosh. Horrendous. Both of them were awful. I want to... Like, the car was bad. But the drivers weren't great either. Like, I'm going to give Albon D. He was absolutely nowhere. And I'm going to put Carlos Sainz... Let's see. Hold on. Let me check. Where did Carlos finish? 13th? Yeah, alright. I'll give him a B. Because, alright, at the end of the day, I get it. Carlos has just finished on a podium, literally last race. But, like, that's abnormal, alright? Like, if we think about what the car is capable of doing, 13th is not bad. You know, if he had a little better of a qualifying, he would have scored a few points. So, we're going to put him in the B category. Yeah. And final thoughts after we get all these drivers ranked. Lando Norris and Yuki Tsunoda's little battle between each other. You know, a lot of people are saying Lando should have gotten a penalty. I agree. I think Lando was off the track. I thought he was off the track, at least. I looked back at it. He was definitely off the track. But at the end of the day, would it have mattered? Because, like, they would have just forced Oscar to back off and let Lando overtake him. So, like, at the end of the day, I don't think it would have been a huge deal. And honestly, like, I don't think it would have affected much. Because, like, Yuki, for some reason, lets Lando by and then had a masterclass performance. I don't know if any of you saw it because they didn't really televise it. But he was defending George for a lap and a half, which was unbelievable because you want George to overtake and catch up to Lando and Charles. So, I don't get it. You know, congratulations to Lando, obviously. It was a good win. Can we talk about how the FIA president just, like, kept rubbing his head? Like, why was everyone coming up to Lando, ripping his hat off, and rubbing his hair? Like, he's not a child. He's 26. Like, he's a grown adult. He's not, like, leave him alone. I don't get this obsession with Lando and his hair. It was kind of weird, I'm gonna be honest. But otherwise, that is it for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Now, we got a few weeks off before the season kicks off again. There will be some videos here and there. I'm going to start a new series starting next week, actually. The new series is a What If series. We're going to go through each team and list out the what ifs of this year's 2025. You know, some are going to be obvious, like for Red Bull, what if Max didn't run into George? You know, obvious stuff like that. And some aren't going to be as obvious, like what if Bottas joined Alpine? You know, interesting stuff like that. The videos are going to vary, time length. You know, there's a lot more what ifs with, like, Red Bull than there is with Alpine. But, yeah, I think you guys will enjoy. If you enjoyed this video, I appreciate if you would like, subscribe, hit that bell icon, and let me know. Put your messages out in the comments. Did you like the video? What can I do better? Stuff like that. I would really appreciate all that. But otherwise, I will see you next week. Have a good one, everyone.